Good day, everyone. Welcome to another video lecture for Intermediate Accounting 3. I am your instructor, Ms. Josel May Salarinos Del Monte. So our topic for this video is all about related party transactions. So what do you mean by related party transaction? So it is a transfer of resources or obligation between related parties regardless of whether a price is charged. So take note when you say related party transactions, there are related parties involved wherein there is a transfer of resources or obligation, whether it is for free or for a particular charge. So what do you mean by related party? So kinsa man tong mga considered as related parties. So on the point of view of the reporting entity, who are considered as his or its related party. So related party, or these are parties that are considered related if one party has the ability to control over the other party. So meaning kontrolado daw sa isa ka party ang isa ka party. Say for example, a certain party or the other party has control over the reporting entity, or the reporting entity has control over the other party. So vice versa siya. So when say control, control is the power over the investee or the power to govern the financial and operating policies of an entity so as to obtain benefits. So how do we say that there is a control or a party has a control over the other party? When such party who has a control has at least 50% ownership over the other party. Okay? So sama sa kong example kaganiha, if one party has a control over the reporting entity, so meaning to say that party has at least 50% of ownership in shares of the reporting entity. So meaning that party is considered as the parent of the reporting entity. On the other hand, it could be the reporting entity has a control, meaning has an ownership of at least 50% of the shares of the other party. So ang parent karon kay ang reporting entity, and the other party is considered as the subsidiary. Okay? So pag control gani class, that means there is a parent-subsidiary relationship. So the parent and the subsidiary are considered related parties. Next, the other or the one party has the ability to exercise significant influence over the party. Now, when you say significant influence, this is the power to participate in the financial and operating policy decisions of the entity, but not control of those policies. Okay? Participation lang, significant participation. So that is considered as significant influence. So if sa control, ang ownership sa isa ka party towards the other party is at least 50% of the shares of stocks. Pag may significant influence, at least 20%. Okay? But not 50%. But not more than 50%. So, 20% ang iyang ownership, pero dili siya mulampas og 50%. So, naay significant influence ang entity over the other party. So, kana siya, that is, the investor is considered as the associate. Okay? So, mga associate. If you have an associates, okay, those associates are considered as related parties. And last but not the least, one party has joint control over the entity. So, joint control is the contractually agreed sharing of control over an economic activity. So, say for example, there is an operation, okay? Then, two parties agreed to control jointly. So, silang duha, they are they have the same control over such operation or such economic activity. So katong duha ka parties nga naay joint control, they are considered as related parties. So, examples again of related parties, as I've mentioned, we have the associates. So, katong associates, they have significant influence. Okay? These are parties who have significant influence over the other party. Again, pag mayroon tag significant influence, ang ownership sa shares is at least 20% but not up to 50%. Then next, entities that directly or indirectly through one or more intermediaries control or are controlled by or under one common control with the reporting entities. So katong as I've mentioned, katong naay mga parent-subsidiary relationship. Okay? Parent-subsidiary relationship. And last but not the least, key management personnel. Okay, so katong mga key management personnel are those persons having authority and responsibility for planning, directing, and controlling the activities of the entity directly or indirectly. So examples of key management personnel are the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, CFO or the Chief Financial Officer, COO or the Chief Operating Officers, and then mga vice presidents or the president. So they are the key management personnel and they are considered as related parties. So with those related parties, of course, when there is a transaction between those related parties and the reporting entity, then there will be what we call related party transactions. So now, what will happen if there are related parties and at the same time there were transactions with related parties? Okay, so the standard states that this requires disclosures of related party relationship where control exists irrespective of whether there have been transactions between the related parties. So first and foremost, when there are related parties of the reporting entity, there must be disclosure. So it is required to disclose the related party relationship. Okay? If associate ba siya, if parent ba siya or subsidiary, or if key management personnel ba siya, there must be disclosure regardless of whether there have been transactions between the related parties. So, ang basic disclosure ani is i-disclose nato if there are related party relationships. And then, secondary, pag naay mga transactions between the related parties, then additional disclosures will be included. So, moto siya, no? If there's an existing related party relationship, kailangan jud na ay disclosure. Now, again, if naay mga transactions, then additional disclosure will be made. So, what are those minimum disclosures in relation to the related party transactions? So, this shall include the amount of the transactions, the amount of outstanding balance, terms, and conditions, whether secured or unsecured, and nature of consideration to be provided in settlement, and the allowance of doubtful accounts related to the outstanding balance, including the expense recognized during the period in respect of doubtful accounts due from related parties. Okay. What are the transactions that are considered as related party transactions? Of course, when you have sale or purchase of good transactions. Okay? Kung ningpalit ka og mga goods sa imuhang parent or vice versa, nakabaligya ka og mga goods dito sa imuhang parent company, then that transaction is considered as related party transactions. The same with associates. Kung nakagibaligya nga products or nakagipalit na mga products or nakagibaligya na mga properties or gi-acquire nga properties. Okay, and those other transactions. So, pag inana siya, there will be additional disclosure aside sa relationship nga i-disclose nato, which will include the amount of transactions, the outstanding balance if that is on account, giutang siya. And then in relation to the account, if there are allowance for doubtful accounts. On the part of the key management personnel, unsa may mga transactions, related party transactions nato with the key management personnel. Best examples ana is compensation. Okay, the amount of compensation provided to the key management personnel. Not just the basic salary, but also the other benefits received by the key management personnel in exchange of their services rendered to the company or to the entity. So, mo na siya ang considered as related party transactions with the key management personnel. Also, if there are loans to or loans from the key management personnel or the officers, those are still considered as related party transactions. Okay? So, there was a business transaction between the officers or the key management personnel and the entity. So, example of related party disclosures. Okay, so let's have this illustration. Like Hambalaya Company reported the following remuneration and other payments made to their entity's chief executive officer during the current year. So, chief executive officer is considered as a key management personnel, therefore a related party. And since you have a transaction between you, the reporting entity, and the CEO, then such transaction must be disclosed. So these are the remunerations and other payments made to the entity's chief executive officer. So we have the annual salary of 2 million, share options and other share-based payments 1 million, contributions to retirement benefit plan 500,000, and reimbursement of travel expenses for business trips 1.2 million. So among the figures, what are the remunerations and benefits that needs to be disclosed in the notes to financial statements? So again, as I've mentioned earlier, ang mga transactions nato nga i-disclose with in relation to the key management personnel are the annual salary or the basic salary and other benefits received by the officer in exchange of the services. Okay, services nga iyahang gi-render. So, isa na dira ang annual salary. Okay, of course, that is included. Next, share options and other share-based compensation or share-based payment. So, this is one of the benefits of the chief executive officer. So, appeal siya. And we also have the contributions to retirement benefit plan. So, this will also be included. Okay? But reimbursement of travel expenses for business trips is included since it is not paid as a benefit of the entity in exchange of the services rendered by the employee or by the officer, rather than this serves as reimbursement of the travel expenses for business trips. Okay, take note that the chief executive officer did not travel for his own personal benefit, but rather the chief executive officer is traveling in behalf of the business, okay, in behalf of the entity, or the chief executive officer is representing in behalf of the entity. So, business trip yun siya. Okay, so kaning business trip, for purposes of business trip, dili ni siya benefit mismo personally sa chief executive officer. Okay, gibuhat lang ni chief executive officer iyahang trabaho. Okay, so dili ni siya benefit. So this 1.2 million is not or will not be disclosed because this is an expense of the entity mismo or the business. Okay, so the amount to be disclosed as compensation to key management personnel is 3.5 million. That includes 2 million, 1 million, and the 500,000. So 3.5 million will be the amount to be disclosed as compensation to key management personnel. Another, Dean Company acquired 100% of Moray Company in the prior year. During the year, the individual entities included in their financial statements the following. Okay, so I think the party or the related party involved here is the key officers, okay, or the key management personnel. So asa man diri ang considered as related party transactions. Of course, we have the key officer's salary or the compensation that is included. For Dean, we have 750,000, and for Moray, 500,000. Officer's personal expenses, okay, so that is personal expenses of the officers. And of course, that is not considered as related party transaction because that is not shouldered by the reporting entity si Dean at saka si Moray. Siguro, these entities have shouldered first the personal expenses, but siguro subsequently the officers will pay back to this following entities. So dili siya considered as related party transactions. And we also have loans to officers, 1.5 million and 500,000 respectively. And this loans to officers is considered as related party transactions. So for Dean, we have a total of 2,250,000. That is 750 plus 1.5 million as the amount to be disclosed na related party transactions. While for Moray, we have 1 million or 500,000 and 500,000 as the total related party transactions to be disclosed. So the disclosures will happen or will be made in the notes to financial statements. Okay? So again, pag related parties gani, there must be, again, we need to be reminded of how do we consider such party as a related party. Of course, when there is a control over the entity, or the entity has control over the other party, or there is significant influence or joint control. When such qualifications have met, then there must be minimum disclosure of the related party relationship. So it is a must that we need to disclose the existence of the related party relationships. And in addition, if there are transactions between those related parties, then there must be additional disclosures, which includes that amount. Okay, the amount of transactions. Second, the amount outstanding balance of each party. And also the terms of the transactions. And then we also have the allowance for doubtful accounts. Okay? So that's the end of this video lecture. For more understanding, you may further refer to the following sources. Okay? And also, thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope to see you on our next video. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.